Somebody once told me the meta's gonna roll me. I ain't the newest deck in the shit.
Yo, this bug.
Green and purple kinda dumb, Dofla-who really sus. Put a big damn L on his forehead.
Dofla-who suck a dick.
Well, the films start dropping and they don't stop dropping.
Hey.
Dofi into Brooke into Nami, I'm drawing. Didn't make sense not to punk Gibson. Your board gets tapped or your hand gets done. So much to do, so much to see. So what's wrong with hitting so easy?
Sheesh.
You'll never know if you don't go.
Go.
You'll never shine till you aggro. Hey now, you're a film kid, 7th dawn on re-stand. Hey now, you're a film kid, short kid leader again. Cardi Kaizoku.
Special thanks to Hiro Shisho for singing today's intro. If you've seen any new card leaks or reveals, there's a good chance Hiro was the one who translated it. He also does a bunch of good analytical videos too, so go check out his channel. I'll have it linked in the description below. So why Film Kid? I read a really good article on the OP04 meta progression in Japan by KailaKai. I'll link it in the description below if you want to check that out. One of the things that stood out in the article was Kai mentioning Film Kid being good in the meta. One would think that with the introduction of Green Purple Dofla-who and his access to purple film cards, he should pretty much replace Kid, right? But Kid functions as a completely different deck than Dofla-who. So in case you're joining us in OP04 for the first time, we'll go over the leader card. Eustace Captain Kid is a mono green special attribute leader with 5k power and 5 starting life. His leader ability reads, activate main once per turn for 3 Dawn. You may trash a card from your hand, switch this leader to active. So his leader ability is pretty much the main reason he's strong. Being able to attack a second time in a turn for just 1 card in hand means it's easily available at any stage in the game. Unlike Lucci, who requires a KO and 2 cards in hand, or Kudo, who requires 2 East Blue characters on board, 1 discard in hand is a much lighter requirement to reach. Why is being able to untap your leader for 3 Dawn a strong effect? Well, you can essentially treat an opponent's leader as having 1 less life than normal. 5 life leaders feel like they have 4, 4 life leaders feel like they have 3. This is because you can threaten lethal as soon as they hit 1 life since you can attack a second time. This is even deadlier at 0 life as you'll have to defend against 2 12k attacks, which requires 16k counter as opposed to 11k counter to counter a 15k leader swing from any other leader. So why Film over Supernova? There's too many tools to handle a Supernova turtle style of Kid deck now. 8 cost Katakuri and Flame Emperor wreck 8 cost Kid. 10 cost Big Mom can make you take life even through your defenses. Ace makes 8 cost Kid squishy and vulnerable. Dofla-who turtles way better than Kid can. A film package helps us use our leader ability in a more aggressive manner. Basically, the strategy of the deck is to flood the board and ping with as many minimum attacks as possible to burn out resources from your opponent's hand. This is a meta call on my end, but with Red not having access to 4 copies of Blocker Marco and Radical Beam like they did in Japan, there are actually way less decks that can survive double swings from our leader. Interested now? Let's move on to the deck. Just FYI, I'm not including Bartolomeo in this list because according to my expert calculations and forecasting metrics and my dashboards, I just don't want to drop $100 on 4 Bartolomeos. But if you have them, I guess just replace Paradise Waterfall with it. Starting by cost, we have 4 Starter Deck 2 Jewelry Bonnie. Bonnie helps us find our defensive cards. She searches our key cards like Luffy, blockers, 2k counters, and 4k event counters. 4 OP01 Killer, a Supernova blocker. Potentially being able to replace himself for 1 Dawn and having 1k makes him really versatile to use. 4 Starter Deck 2 Scratch Manapoo, a searchable Supernova 2k counter. I've never played this guy out actually. They should really print some new Supernova 2k counters. They have 2 Apus. Oh no, but they used 1. They have 1 Apu in hand. And I have 1 Apu in my butt. 4 OP02 Tony Chopper, a searchable film 2k counter that can sometimes be played out against Law or Zoro to slow them down a bit. 4 OP02 Usopp, a vanilla film card that's usually cheated out to help ping. 4 OP02 Nami, one of the key cards of the deck. Nami helps us ping along with drawing us a card. If you can draw on play and then when attacking, she essentially draws you 2 cards for 2 Dawn, which is amazing. 4 OP01 Izo, he's a 2k counter option that can rest a 4 cost on play. This can help us finish games as we can still double swing for 9k after an Izo taps a blocker. 4 OP02 Brook, Brook cheats out a 3 cost film character on play, so 4 Dawn to get 7 Dawn of value sounds really great. 4 OP02 Roronoa Zoro, the 6k stat line helps us in the Weight Beard matchup. Zoro is also a good target for Luffy to cheat out. For OP02 Monkey D. Luffy. One of the pivotal cards for our deck, he cheats out a 4-cost film character, so you can potentially play Luffy into Brook into Usopp. That's 7 Dawn for 14 Dawn of value. Luffy can suddenly turn losing board states into a winning one. He even has blocker on top of that. In most cases though, you'll want to attack with him. Only leave him up as a blocker if he would die. If you don't. 2 OP01 Eustace Captain Kidd. He's more of an alternate win condition in this deck rather than a main one. He still stops aggression pretty well against red. Against blue, it'll depend on if you think they run 10 cost Kaido or not. Otherwise, they have no way to deal with Kidd. And at least he can be used as fodder for your leader ability against yellow. For our events, we run 3 OP01 Paradise Waterfall. This is my budget Bartolomeo option. It counters for 2k for 1 Dawn and can untap a character. You can use it to untap a Nami to prevent her from being attacked again, allowing you to draw again with her the next turn. Or you can combo it with Luffy and block something, then untap him to allow him to block again. 4 OP01 Punk Gibson. Still one of Green's best event counters to this day. You can tap a 4-cost along with countering for 4k. This can help clear blockers in the late game or make certain key cards like Sentomaru vulnerable in the early game. The trigger is also incredibly powerful, allowing you to rest any character. 1 OP01 Paradise Totsuka. This is just sort of like an extra copy of Izo, except for cheap. You can double swing 11k after a Totsuka. For starting hands, Bonnie and Nami are really the only 2 key cards you need early on. The next best thing is a Brook into Usopp combo to burn counters out of hand early. The strengths of the deck are finishing power. As I mentioned earlier, your leader ability almost makes it feel like the enemy's playing with 1 less life. Bargain Hunter. You often get more value out on board for cheaper than the Dawn you used to pay for. No dead cards. Any card that isn't useful for you in a matchup can be used for your leader ability. The weaknesses of the deck are consistency. Games without an early Nami are a lot rougher than games with her. Card options. We're pretty much running every runnable film card in this deck. The Uta side starter deck will help us a little with this with another cheap blocker option, but for now, we don't really have many options for tech cards that don't make the deck awkward for us. Weak to aggro. It's really hard to out aggro red aggro decks. It will definitely be way easier now with the restriction on Blocker Marco and Radical Beam, but you really need a good curve to keep up with them. So that's the Kidd deck I'm running in OP04. Kidd always feels like such a comfort pick for me. If I end up really liking him, I will maybe fork out the money for the Bartolomeos. I think he is definitely a sleeper pick because he's still as good as he's always been, but just not too popular right now. I hope the videos this week will showcase that though. Thanks again to Hiroshisho for singing the intro. Go check him out please. Okay, bye.
Card D Kaizoku.